What's up YouTube? My name's Quickie, welcome back to the channel. It's really weird today. I've got so much going on. I've just done the giveaway update video. So you'll get a gist of what's happening. But I've got loads of little jobs on the go and I don't like being that way. I'm halfway through wiring in the M unit, which is why you can see the rat's nest. I've got a battery tray that's half done because I'm waiting on some stainless brushes. I've got a new fuel filler jobby thing that I've been working on as well. He's half done, but now I've probably decided to bin that one off and do something else. And I also got Crispy coming in today just to have a chat about the bike and running it up on a dyno. There is all sorts of stuff going on and I wanted to cover all of it. But it's like, today I think I'm going to be shooting bits of 3, maybe 4 different videos. And I don't know which one is coming out in what order. And, it's one of them. But anyway, this is going to be the Crispy one. It's now 10 o'clock on Wednesday morning. He said he'd be here from 10 onwards, basically. So I've just had a little bit of a spritz up. I need to shot blast his cup. Because it is ringing. And then when Crispy gets here, we're going to have a chat about what's going on with that. I might even drag some of that stuff up there down as well, just so we can have a look-see and I can try it on for size. But, apart from the GP can, it all fitted, so it just might be sticking out at a bit of a daft angle, that's all. Sneaky buggers, they don't even put it on the thing, do they?
No, they won't, no, because it's an anti-theft thing. They don't put them on any of the wiring diagrams that I've seen before.
Well, we're about to tell YouTube all about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Libel!
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, little thieves all over the world going, yes.
Yes.
This is how we do it.
Looks all right though, doesn't it? It's getting there.
It looks really good. Yeah. That's going to be cool. Yeah, I wonder what it will run like with that setup.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. As soon as you do away with the airbox, it does change everything.
Yeah. So, Crispy's in the shop. We've got a brew on the go. And he's just having a look and seeing what's what and stuff. So, this is the first time you've seen it, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So, you used to have a unit down here, you were saying?
Yeah.
Is that when it was all container trucks and
It's
stuff?
probably still there, actually. If you go down that way and then that way,
yeah.
It's about halfway along. It looks like a wooden shack thing.
Martin might be, or could be Paul's. I think he's now making lamps, lampshades and stuff. That's what he's doing in there. Yeah.
Right.
But it's like all weird stuff that he buys from the States and then makes a funky top to it and sells it just for like 600 quid a go.
Yeah.
For a lamp.
Maybe I should have carried on doing that. More money.
It's mental.
Yeah.
So, there's a few things I wanted to go through actually. So the battery tray, the battery will be living at the back, but I dunked my tungsten in it, so I'm waiting for some stainless steel brushes to come. So that'll all be finished and the battery will be at the back. Probably won't have the rubber strap on it, but it will be zip tied down. So that's going to be out the way.
Yeah.
If I put the tank on it, it covers the igniter unit and the M unit.
Okay.
So it's that bit in the middle, and I've got a socket set up there that I could duct tape to it. Are you happy sitting on that?
Yeah.
Because I haven't made a seat for it yet.
I've got like a little cushion anyway.
Have you?
A Dyno cushion.
Right.
So I'll throw that on anything that hasn't got a seat anyway, so that's fine.
Right, okay, cool.
Yeah, that won't be a problem.
The wiring will be tucked up and out the way.
Yeah.
But what do you actually need to run a bike on the dyno?
Well, as long as I can get a tacho feed, which ideally you'd want to take it from the primary connections of the coil.
Yeah.
So one of these.
Well, that's where the speedo's going to connect up anyway. I was going to wire that in so you've got all pressure light, neutral light and a tacho.
Okay, yeah.
But you need a tacho for the dyno, don't you?
You can run it off the rear wheel, but
the
scaling's not quite right. Obviously, as the wheel spins, the tyre gets bigger, so
yeah,
it's better to run it. I prefer it to run it off there. It's more accurate.
Well, we could just run it off an auxiliary tank and forget the fuel tank.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Yeah, I've got one. Yeah, we can do that.
As long as you're all right having your plums on an M unit.
Yeah.
Then.
So don't worry about that.
So obviously throttle cables and clutch will all be hooked up as well. Do you need a brake?
No.
You don't need a brake?
No, I've got a brake on the dyno anyway, so that's fine. Yeah, I won't need a brake.
Or we can just hold it for pushing it up and down the ramp and all that stuff anyway.
Be alright, won't we?
Yeah, I would have thought so. Well, it's just one less thing I've got to worry about getting ready for dyno day, basically.
Yeah, that'll be fine. Yeah, as long as there's two of us pushing it up and down, it's not going to be a problem.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. No, that's literally it, really. Yeah, it would be quite nice to have an oil pressure light, I suppose, just in case.
It should be easy enough to rig up. I mean, it just pops out on these wires here somewhere. I've just got to grab one of those wires.
Yeah.
The oil pressure switch has got a wire sticking out the engine anyway.
It just hurts, doesn't it?
So it might not be pretty, but it'll work.
Yeah, that's right, as long as it works.
So this engine was pulled, I'll have to go back and have a look. I think it was about maybe a little over a year ago.
Yeah.
that the whole bike started getting pulled apart and everything else. So the oil was drained out of it, then everything was sealed up with rubber gloves and zip ties, and that's basically how it sat upright in that position all that time. Okay. So when we was cocking about, one of the worries that I had was obviously there's no oil in the head anymore.
Yeah.
The oil I put in is like bloody treacle. It's so cold in here. It's gone. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But we did short something out, and it did turn the engine over without spark plugs in. Right. So there was no compression, there was no spark, there was no fuel hooked up or anything, but it did turn it over. And I was chatting with Andy, and he said it's a good thing to do that anyway, just to get some oil up the top.
Spin it over, yeah, get some oil pressure going, definitely, yeah.
Is there anything like we only did it that once? I mean, I'll probably have the plugs out and do it a few more times before we go for a fire up. Yeah. But is there anything else that I should be doing to it?
Before you come down?
Before I start it up? No,
literally, yeah. I mean, that's, like you say, it's a really good thing to do. Take the plugs out, spin it over. There'll be a takeoff somewhere. You'll probably find in the manual where you can measure oil pressure. It might be like one of these. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I've got an oil pressure gauge up there, actually.
Yeah.
I'll just plug that in. Yeah,
just plumb that in. Get it up to oil pressure if you want to do that. Get it spinning over and everything. And then, yeah, once you've done that, just fuel in the carbs and see what happens.
And that's it.
Yeah. You might find possibly actually that the clutch might be seized from being sat around.
That's well, I was going to have the clutch plates off.
Oh, that should be fine then.
If you pull the clutch, I mean, it's all operating, but you don't know if the friction plates are coming off the pressure plates, do you? Yeah. So I was going to have the clutch out. It was a brand new clutch in there, actually. So I might just soak it, or I might just get another one. I don't know. But like I said, because the R1 that I had, that was sat outside for like 2 years at one point. Yeah. Because there was all sorts wrong with it, and the clutch had just seized into one solid chunk. Yeah,
I've had that happen before. Yeah.
And even if you get the friction plates apart, it's a really dumb idea to use them again, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, for the sake of, like 50, 60 quid maybe, a set of plates, why, yeah.
There's no point.
Yeah.
So I'll have the clutch out and have a look.
Gone are the days where you put the bike up against the wall and bang it into gear and try and... or the other one just like, no, I'm going to persevere. Yeah. Whack it into gear and get
Keep going.
The bike. It will free.
It will. If I rev it a bit, it'll be fine.
Go on.
Right. Okay, so... other stuff. That exhaust is all handmade by me.
Yeah.
And it's actually baffled as well. Okay. Not a lot, but if you look down there, there's a baffle from there to there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There did used to be one down here as well, where it comes, this straight bit behind the collector. Yeah. But I had to chop that off. It's got wadding and stuff in it. It's a 38mm inner. So it's the same OD perforated as the header is. Okay. There's not a lot of baffling.
I'll tell you what I was thinking was getting my dyno sniffer down there, because it's about that long and it's pretty straight, although you can slightly bend it if you need to.
Right. Well, is that just to measure unburnt fuel coming out the exhaust or something?
Yeah, I mean, the other thing you could do, and you're probably not going to want to do this, is you could weld a bung in, a little boss, and you thread an M18 O2 sensor into it. And you could do it that way.
I've got some stainless, I could do it.
Yeah.
Does it have to go anywhere in particular? Because can I hide it around the back or something?
Yeah, you could have it sort of like here.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. I mean, as long as it's at about a 45-degree angle, I suppose, because if it's any more than that, then sometimes the O2 sensor gets contaminated with condensation and stuff if it's that, pointing in that direction, because it all collects inside.
So as long as the boss is pointed down?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, as in the boss is on the top half of the...
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. And 45 degrees.
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got any hose connections?
I just put one on my hose because
I'll rob yours.
I broke it.
This is a filter, obviously, and it's blocking this.
I thought I had a spare one. Just unplug the green hose. You don't need a massively long one, do you?
No, I just need that.
I haven't got one of them.
No, not one of them, but something that screws onto a tap and then goes into a hose.
Well, can't you just nick what I've got around there?
Yeah, no, I can take that.
Well, just take that then. Stop being a fanny.
I'm just asking, can I rob it? Just need that, the grey one.
I'm sure I had another one.
I mean, that might be alright, to be honest. I'd have to try it, because...
It's not much of a curve, but there is a curve to it.
Yeah.
The actual muffler bit is just dead straight.
Yeah.
The
Yeah. It'll probably be alright, but yeah, worst case.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I'll bring it back once I fix this one.
No worries. Bye. Miss you already. Love you. He's an idiot. Right. Okay, so the first dyno run that the bike ever had, you see the exhaust up there that's in the polythene?
Yeah.
Little short stubby jobby, and he should just go straight back on it again. I've got no idea how that exhaust is going to perform.
Yeah.
This MSVA test that they're going on about, it's like a 99 decibel limit for road use.
Right.
I'm pretty sure we're going to blow that out the water. I think that one, I want to say 102, but I could be wrong.
Right.
101, something like that. And that was run up on McPherson's when he was over there.
Yeah. Same dyno as what I've got.
Is it?
I think so, yeah. I think it's got the eddy brake on it as well, so it should be in the ballpark, very similar.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be a different day. It's freezing cold and everything else, which will make a difference.
Yeah.
But we've got that one, and I've also got a GP can up there as well, which there's a fella who lives not far away. He came down to give me this. So, if my exhaust doesn't work, this is really short. I need to make up a different link pipe. This actually came off a BMW S1000. Yeah, I'll bet it was as well. I think that's why he changed it. But I quite like the idea, because that sort of style exhaust would go with the bike quite nicely as well.
Yeah, it would, yeah.
So what I was wondering is if we wanted to do like a... Because nothing has changed with the engine apart from the fueling for the Dynojet kit and the pod filters, obviously, and losing the airbox. Everything else is the same. Yeah. Engine internals wise, and then you've got obviously a different exhaust. So what I was wondering is if we could stick that exhaust on it and just run it, because that should give us a baseline for doing the carb changes. Yeah, yeah. Because everything else apart from the pods and the Dynojet kit is exactly the same. Yeah. Just out of interest more than anything, and then we could run with this setup and see, okay, is it working? Is it massively loud? Is it nasty? Is it going to work? Is it not? Yeah. If it isn't going to work, I could make an adapter for this, I would imagine, or I'll check and just see if this fits on. Because I mean, it's going to need some sort of a link pot, because that is going to be really short. It's just going to be a massive dip at 3K, isn't there?
Well, that's it. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, but if I make just like a longer pipe, I don't really care if it's straight or not, or what angle that comes out at, anything else, but just to see if this is a better option. Yeah. Because I want it to be like a daily, it can't be massive. I don't mind a little bit of noise, but I don't want it massively obnoxious and stupid.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. Well, you can make anything work really within, within reason, I suppose.
Well,
like I said, it depends. If it's short, if it's long, changes the pulses and the resonance and stuff like that, and you'll see it on the graph. You'll probably lose a bit at one place and then gain a bit somewhere else, and just move the power around. But we should be able to make it work.
And the other thing is, I might get a DB killer and shove a DB killer in the end, because that will restrict the opening to the exhaust anyway.
Yeah.
That's going to change pulses and all that kind of stuff within the exhaust as well. What else is it? Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
I always find that DB killers tend to knock off the power a lot at the top.
Right.
Because if you've got like a long baffle and it's absorbing the sound, but still allowing good flow, then that tends to work better than getting a really wide open exhaust and then bunging a DB killer at the end, which basically just constricts it.
Right.
And I normally find that it'll just knock the power right off at the top.
Right. Okay. Because this is open and the same diameter tube from the collector all the way to the end.
Yeah.
And it's just that middle bit that's got that bit of baffling in.
Yeah.
Which isn't a massive amount of baffling. It's probably as much as that can has got.
Yeah.
But it's a bigger link pipe by a few mil.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Like 5 or 6 mil, something like that.
Yeah. Well, we could just experiment, couldn't we, and just see what's what. And
it'd be interesting to know. Because the thing is, I can, if that exhaust ends up going in the bin, then that's fine. I don't really care, because the headers, they're about as good as it's ever going to go. I've been doing loads of research on it, and essentially they're built as a set of race headers, in essence. So you're not really going to get any better than that. The collector's been monkeyed with to get all that lot to fit, and then the link pipe is obviously bits of mandrel bend that's all been chopped up and...
It's sort of a compromise as well, isn't it? Because you want it to look cool, but you want it to perform, but then you don't want it to be massively loud, but then you don't want to baffle it too much and lose a load of power, so... Yeah, it's a bit of a compromise all round, isn't it?
It'd be interesting, though.
Yeah, no, it would be, definitely. Yeah, and I suppose if you're changing the exhaust as well, that might change the air-fuel ratio, so you might not get like a real true comparison, because one might perform slightly better, but then the other one, the air-fuel ratio might be all over the place, so that might be the reason why it's not doing so well. So, but you don't want to spend loads of time jetting something just to see how much better that could be, and then before you know it, you just done a right little...
Well, the thing is, once all this is done, the engine's coming apart and getting rebuilt. Yeah. And as we know with the ZZR, it's a really dumb idea to be shoving a brand new rebuilt engine on a dyno, because it won't thank you for it. It's still sitting out there.
Is it? Is it knocking, is it?
I'm pretty sure it's got a rod knock. I was chatting with Matt. That's why I got that all pressure test gauge, because he was saying shove that in the galleries, and if it spun a shell or something like that, then the bearing would be passing more oil, so the oil pressure would be off. I haven't done it yet, but no, because I've got this, I've got the SRAD, and then that little idea that we was chatting about before. What I might be doing is completely rebuilding the engine on the ZZR, and then sell that to fund that other project. If that makes sense.
I'd be unlucky if you spun a bearing. They're normally really, really reliable.
But until I get into it, I'm not going to know. Either way, the engine's coming apart just because it's making a funny noise and I'm not happy with it.
Is it like proper loud, or is it just a bit...
Up to 3k, there is definitely a knock there. But then you get to 3k and it sort of disappears. But I can't tell if that's because the rest of the engine is now noisy enough to drown it out, or if the knock actually disappears at that point purely because of the oil flow. I don't know.
Yeah, a bit of a nightmare.
But it's all right. It's just pull the engine out and... I'll say it's all right. It's just pull the air.
10 minutes.
I know my way around it now. It's not that big a job, really. Okay, so all right. In time-wise, this week I want the battery tray done, the wiring all tidied up, hopefully have it running, and I will balance the carbs as well. I've got a thing there. They were balanced using a crappy set of gauges, but I've now got a very nice, was it a Morgan's carb tune thing down there?
Nice. Yeah.
So I'll balance the carbs on that. Ain't gonna have a choke, you have to do that manually.
So are you running a vacuum tap then off the tank? Or not?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, cool.
I've got a new tap and everything else.
Not bothering with that. That's only for ignition time from memory anyway.
What, the throttle position sensor?
Yeah.
Well, that's how it came. It was just chopped off.
Yeah. Yeah, from memory, and don't quote me on this because I don't want to talk shite, but I'm pretty sure they started putting them on so that the igniter box could sense throttle position, and it would change the ignition map slightly. So if you're on like real heavy load or light load, it would change the time slightly. But I've seen loads of them that run like that without it connected or cut off like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was toying with the idea of just, because it's not connected to anything, so I'll just pull it off, and then I was going to machine up something that will hold the choke, and so I don't have to have a cable coming up to a control on the handlebar.
Yeah.
I just, control the choke that way.
Yeah.
Because I could mount something there and off the corner of the carb, and literally all you're doing is pushing that. So
Yeah, that's all it is, isn't it? Yeah.
it's not exactly hard.
Yeah, I've never done any experiments to see the differences with running this on or off, actually. Be interesting to do that one time.
Well, there's only a couple of wires come out of them, isn't there?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And it just goes to the igniter box.
Yeah, it just lets it know, obviously, throttle position. So it'll probably be changing the ignition time and depending on RPM and throttle position. But how much, I'm not sure, to be honest.
Do you want me to wire it up?
Is it easy enough to wire it up, is it?
Well, I don't know, I'll just pull it apart and have a look.
Yeah. I don't know. I might have to look into it. I don't know. Somebody else out there must have done some experiments before.
Because I think it shows it on the circuit diagram. So I can tell where it would go on the igniter.
Yeah.
And if it don't work, just unplug it.
Oh, yeah.
If we don't see any, I mean, that would be the thing to do, wouldn't it? Do a run.
Yeah.
And then unplug it and just do another run.
Yeah. I suppose with it not connected, I wonder what sort of ignition time and it'll run without it connected. That's what I'm curious about. Will it be running the optimum timing for wide open throttle run? If it's not, you wouldn't be getting the power out of it. You should, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'll look into that. Might be connected, it might not. It just depends. I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Ain't got a side stand, ain't got any of that rubbish. But we ain't gonna need it. Old tyres is okay, you were saying?
Yeah. I found sticky, slicky type tyres. They actually sap a bit of power off the dyno, I found.
Really?
Yeah, rubber flying everywhere, it's like being in a ball pool of rubber balls flying everywhere, and the tyres get sticky and it starts sapping the
Right.
brake horsepower. So old tyres are fine, hard older tyres. Once you get past the initial wheel spin, but that's all good fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
It's all on stock gearing and stuff as well, so
yeah.
that'll all be fine.
Yeah.
So it's really just a case of getting it running and squaring away his last few little bits and bobs in it. So how do you do most of your dining, because you're trying to keep your neighbours happy, so do you do it during the week or at the weekends or what?
I'm trying to keep all the Plimpton happy, to be honest. Yeah, so it depends. If it's like an hour, 2 hours, something like that, I can do it during the week.
Right.
If it's like an all-day jobby, then it'd probably be at a weekend.
Okay.
But it depends what it is, really. I mean, something like this, you're not going to be constantly up and down the box, and then, because if I'm doing ECU flashing and tuning and stuff like that, it'll take me literally all day, and I'll be doing like loads and loads of runs. It'll take me forever. But this, you'll probably do a couple of runs, stop, have a look at it, see what's going on, maybe make a few changes and play around. So I reckon it'll be fine to do it during the week.
Okay.
All right. And go around and post things through people's letterboxes saying,
I'm really,
on
really
this day at
sorry.
this time. Yeah. I'm really sorry.
No worries. All right then.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
As long as I don't see any surprises, because I really want to get it running this week.
Yeah.
So all wiring and all that stuff squared away and everything else. And Saturday I'm hoping to have it running, balance the carbs, and just go over everything and make sure it's all nipped up and all that sort of stuff. Just talk down. And at that point, it's pretty much okay. Well, let's stick it on the dyno and give it some beans.
See what's what. Yeah, cool. Sounds good. I suppose that wiring's going to be potentially interesting, isn't it?
It's actually quite... half of that lot, actually, is earths.
Yeah.
All this lot
is
just going to be earths. So I'm making up some... Because the frame on this is going to be grounded to the battery anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm just in the process of making up some bosses, like M5 grounding points. So wherever the wire comes out of whatever it's coming out of, there'll just be an earthing point next to it, and we just ground everything through the frame. We measured it from the battery to the headstock, and there's like 0 ohms resistance. So it's actually quite a good earth. Which is fine, and the mounting points for the M unit is earthed as well, so
Did these run like a starter circuit cut out relay or anything like that? Did it have anything like that?
I don't know. Where's the book?
I'm guessing you would have done away with it by now.
What do we do with it?
No, it's over there.
Oh yeah. There you go.
Which one are you looking at?
UK.
US, UK.
Hang on. Yes, yeah, that one there.
Oh, well, I was reading it upside down.
I'm gonna go and fill the kettle up again before it before it freezes.
We ain't got a fuse box.
No. It's bloody cold, isn't it?
Yeah, there's lots of little things in here that you might have to play around with as well.
What's that?
Just things like this, like the side stand relay and stuff like that. So that relay will get activated when the side stand's in a certain position, and then make a little circuit.
It's got it's actually got a thing.
Got a thing.
It's got a thing actually. See here, there's already a connector for the side stand switch, so the relays and all that stuff is all built into it.
Oh, that's cool.
Brake switch and all that stuff is in there as well.
That's cool.
So,
well, if you wanted to get rid of any of that stuff, you didn't want it, you would just probably do something like that one there. You just take that straight to earth.
Yeah.
Rather than mess about with relays and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
If it doesn't go on the button.
Because on this, with the side stand switch, for example, the idea is there's one wire that comes up to the M unit, the other side of it just gets earthed down to frame.
Yeah.
And the relay and everything that's already in the M unit just works it all out. So it will, if your side stands down when you pull the clutch in and the neutral light goes out, then it cuts it out anyway.
Yeah.
But I think that's part of the MSVA test. You have to have all that.
For it to do its thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
For it to be passed and whatnot. It's a dead clever little box of tricks though.
Yeah, I've seen them before actually.
There is another one which is cheaper. I can't remember what it's called though. Somebody else did mention Neo. No, it's not a Neo. It's something like that. Same sort of thing. Maybe not quite so funky or as well marketed, but I hate them. I absolutely hate them.
Yeah.
Right, brew.
Spend hours and hours and hours and hours just staring at one.
Crispy's brilliant. We get on really well with him. He's a good lad. And he's well up for getting involved as well, which is sweet. So if I have any trouble with the wiring, he's quite happy to come down and, stare at a diagram and, give us a helping hand or whatever. So that's all good. It is now basically midday. he's got an MOT at midday, so he's had to nip off. But he's gone back to check his diary to see when we can get booked in for a dyno. He reckons he's booking up about a week and a half in advance. So I said, well, your next available date, like a week and a half's time, just pencil me in for it, let me know when it is, and that's what I'm going to work to. And realistically, we should be there, as long as I don't come across any funnies. That's you know, any unknown, unforeseen, like, I don't know, something's gone on with the engine, or, you know, whatever. As long as we don't get any curveballs thrown at us, we should be sound, should be. So during this week and a half, I'm going to get the battery tray done. That's easy. We're going to get all the wiring sorted and squirreled away. It probably isn't going to be the full final loom. It's going to be that mess that's on there, but it'll all be tucked up and insulated and out the way. I'm going to make a load of these little earth bosses, because if I get rid of just the earth cables on that, it's going to neaten it up and simplify things. So we'll get all that sort of stuff done. To the point where I can actually get the thing running. Before I run it up and start it, we are going to have the plugs out. Going to crank it over on the button, just to get oil around it, and I'll probably shove that oil pressure gauge in just to make sure it is building pressure in there. We will be wiring the dash in as well. Just that way you've got a reference for rev counters, a neutral light and an oil pressure light. Just in case anything does go a bit doohickey on the dyno, it would be nice to know. But that's it, that's basically all we need. So if I can get the thing running, which I'm hoping to by the end of this week now, Saturday I want to be tinkering about with carbs and balancing them. That would be just awesome. That would be really, really good. And then it's just a case of going over everything, making sure it's all torqued down, you know, blah-de-blah-de-blah. And if we've got a few days before dyno, I'll just start on something else. I have got other stuff going on, as you can see, but we're there. Fuel tank, I do want to run it with a fuel tank. And I think I've decided, executive decision, that I'm just going to plate it over and weld that boss in. I'm going to leave all the gubbins in there that's there at the minute, because that doesn't really matter. And basically I'm just going to plate it over the top. I will carry on making that removable jobby, which I will probably just give to whoever wins the bike. If they want to stick it on, then all they've got to do is have that plate out that I've put in. That's it, that'll be easy. But it's going to look much, much, much cleaner and neater. And it will just fit the bike, and it's going to look nice. So I might get that done before we do dyno run. If I don't, we're just going to be running off on auxiliary, and Crispy's going to be sitting on an M unit, but he seems quite happy to do it. So that's it. We have a plan. Week and a half, it has to be dyno ready, because he's getting a spanking. But anyway, that's where I'm going to leave it for this one. Thank you ever so much for watching. I really do hope you're well and staying safe, and we will see you on the next one. Laters!